Hello, hello. This is Ignacy Trzewiczek from Portal Games.
And Corey Thompson from Dice Tower Dish, Above Board TV, Rose Gauntlet, etc.
And this is the Podfather of Gaming, Stephen Bonacore. You are listening to Board Games Insider, episode 386. And we're recording this on September 9th, 2025. Board Games Insider, powered by Board Game Geek. Yes.
That was your best gravitas
Nice.
statement there. You know, that one was good. That one, I have to give credit where credit's due.
All right, all right. Gentlemen, you're looking all good. We still get no, everybody keeps coming up to me and saying we need more Ignacy, by the way. That is a big thing, Ignacy. You
Yeah.
really, they're always coming to me at the Dice Tower retreat. There's this past week, which I'll talk
Super
about,
nice. Thank you.
that they really want more Ignacy, but you're a busy guy. So tell us what's going on in your life and at Portal Games.
In life, I was in mountains. This is very dangerous if you have no stamina, fitness, and whatsoever. I survived barely. And what's worst, my wife Mary enjoyed it a lot, so she has new plans for that. So that's scary. In my professional life, we are preparing for Essen, and a lot of things are happening. So we are preparing the big release for us, Bohemians. That is our big release at Essen. We have pre-orders for Neuroshima Hex Battle. This is two-player introduction for a Neuroshima Hex line. We have Bohemians on Board Game Arena in a beta stage, so people can play test it and see how the game works. So basically, it is the busiest time of the year before Gen Con, between Gen Con and Essen. So everybody's super busy. And on top of that, on top of building these all offers for the customers with this mini expansion and etc., preparing the booth for Essen, doing all this crazy stuff. Actually, my main part of the day is development and preparing the games for the next year. Because as we always say in this podcast, the things that are happening right now in the retail means that we are preparing something for the next year. So actually, right
Mm.
after this recording, I'm going to have a Skype call with the designer of the new game that we are doing next year. And we'll announce it, of course, at PortalCon in January. So yes, I'm developing. My marketing team is pushing our Essen releases. And my sales team is creating all these crazy offers with additional promos for you guys. And as always in these recent episodes, recent months, I say support indie publishers, support publishers who record awesome podcasts like Ignacy and his Portal Games, and give us a try. So go to Portal Games website, check what's Neuroshima X Battle, check what's Bohemians, check what's Age of Galaxy, lots of great games for you this year. And in the meantime, I encourage to follow me on Facebook on a page in Ignacy Trzewiczek. Follow me on ignacytrzewiczek.com where I post articles. My photo of my super tired face, very unhappy face, made a record in terms of the likes. So many people enjoyed me almost being dead during the mountain trip. So fun time.
That's awesome.
Like I have almost 300 likes just being tired, dead tired. So this is what you guys expect, I guess.
That is just great. Corey?
Man, I'm tired all the time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, things have been crazy like usual. I had another group at the house. I had the staff and owners of KublaCon, which is the major local game con in California out of San Francisco. And they were at the house last weekend. It was really fun. Had a really good time. There wasn't so much game playing, although I introduced them to Bomb Busters. Aldo, who is a die-hard screaming, will never ever play a co-op game, thought Bomb Busters was great. So I they've all drunk the Kool-Aid. They played it a bunch. It's such a fantastic game. Uh, Mostly business stuff with the KublaCon group, although there was a major interruption for K-pop Demon Hunters. I think this movie is getting right about to the level of a weird cult, and so.
And
Uh,
I watched this movie on Netflix before it was this crazy hype. So I'm super. I don't know what happened. Like my daughter watched the movie, tell me, Dad, you need to watch it. It's fun. It's cool. It's by
I
the
know
guys who
it's
did the
insane.
Spider-Man. So I watched this movie. It's a
Wait,
cool movie, and then I saw it's getting viral
Oh,
and
and
viral. I
it's
don't know what's happening.
beautiful.
wait a minute. Wait a minute. So
You're old. You've never heard of it.
of course I've heard of this. It's like everything. Both of you old men are actually liking K-pop Demon Hunters. Is that what you're
I
saying?
I thought the
It's a cool
animation was
movie.
beautiful. I thought the music
Now,
was catchy and instantly forgettable.
now,
But
now I have to watch it because I have to be part of the cult. I mean,
it is
FOMO.
definitely a cult. The biggest thing though is I am flying to Florida literally in less than a day. It is right now 6:30 in the morning.
Are you
When
gonna see
3
me?
a.m. rolls around, I need to leave for my flight.
Are you gonna see me, Corey?
No, I'm gonna go to Orlando for unrelated events.
Okay, there you go. Gonna be great seeing you.
Yeah, so big trip. I'm gonna head to Orlando and play games with friends that I haven't seen in a long time. It's gonna be awesome. And then heading to QsCon up in
Yeah,
Syracuse right after. This is a convention I've heard about for a long old time and have never managed to make it to. And
yeah.
I believe I'm a very special guest at QsCon. I just
Of
had to throw that in
of
for
course.
you.
You got to take some pictures of you with a very special guest banner or something like that to
Yeah,
get
the sash.
give me a little FOMO on that one. But yeah,
Absolutely.
Mike Googs has been
Gugliano, yeah.
yeah, he's been Googs, we call him, right? He's been asking me to come for a while. It's just the only reason I haven't is because it's just so much going on. So
Oh,
I hopefully I'll
absolutely.
make it next year. So because it's
Yeah.
obviously a great group of people that go. So that's very
And
cool.
then after QsCon, I've got a large group of influencers from LA coming. This has become a yearly thing where the big influencers are taking a break from their job to just come to my house, play games, and not work. So
Cool.
it sounds like a really fantastic group. I'm really looking forward to that. And then
Nice.
always looming in the distance, Essen, which I am going to
Oh.
Essen, making it a whole trip. I'm doing Iceland, Finland, Essen, and then Belgium.
Very,
So
very cool. And over here at the Podfather Gaming, I just got back from Orlando, uh, and I was at the Dice Tower Retreat, which is a great event.
yeah,
The Dice Tower crew throws an amazing event up there. Very air quotes small, about 350 people. And it went really smoothly. Got to play lots and lots of games. Nothing brand new that I recall, but all some of my favorites. And of course, so many people I know and love there. And the one thing we do every year actually at the retreat is to play one of the murder mystery games.
oh,
And
fun.
there's a lot of new ones that keep coming out. Pegasus Spiel is bringing out new ones, etc. So I played Bruno in this particular one, and I was a California surfer dude who hated his job as a ski instructor, and he was just like, "Yeah, man, yeah, I forgot to like bring you the flowers that you wanted, Julianne." And
I am
I was pointing to
personally
the,
insulted
and
at
I was constantly
your bad accent there.
constantly pointing to the wrong person when I calling them names, and he was a pothead, so he's constantly high, and it was it was a lot of fun. Sorry, I can't do a California surfer dude accent, but it was a lot of fun doing that. Thank you, Trey, for putting that together. As Corey mentioned, I'll be seeing him and a bunch of friends back in Orlando just tomorrow, and
Yeah.
it'll be a great little event that we're doing and just hanging out for the weekend, gaming, eating, drinking too much, hanging out, socializing. Gonna be fun. Almost immediately after I come back from that, I head out to Las Vegas for the World Series of Board Gaming. Uh, local people can still come get a open gaming badge. Those of you who know Dice Tower West convention, it's the same library that shows up. The Dice Tower West library shows up. Plenty of open gaming. You probably could even get into the tournaments. You certainly could get into the what they call the Phoenix tournaments. So just come check it out if you've never been, or if you have been, but if you've never been, check out and see what it is, especially if you're a local. The World Series of Board Gaming. You can go to WSBGVegas.com and check out the details. Right after that, when I get back, I fly back out to the West Coast. I'll be back for a few days, like a week, and we go out to BGG at Sea, Western Mexico. Starts in LA. I'm going to spend a few days in LA checking things out there. I've never been on a studio tour, so we're going to go on a studio tour. I forgot which one we're doing right now. It's not Par Universal. I think we're doing the Universal Studio Tour. Corey, you're going to meet me down
Too
in
many
LA, right?
cruises.
I don't know. I have no time.
No, I know you. It's only like, like an hour away from where you live in like Northern California. I'll be in Southern. It's not that big of a state, is it? Yes, it is. It's a huge state. So we'll be down there, do the cruise, goes to Cabo and Puerto Vallarta and things like that. It's going to be fun. More gaming, more sightseeing. And then I'll finally have about 2 weeks at home. And then I head out to Essen with a trip actually to the Netherlands first for just a couple of nights to hang out with Zev and a couple of other friends. Of course, gentlemen, we all have to figure out a time. We're going to record an episode while we're in Essen, probably in Ignacio's super booth that he has there in one of his meeting rooms. So we'll figure that out.
Spoiler
Um,
alert, as always, I will be driving back from Essen on Saturday, so we have only Thursday or Friday or Wednesday
all
to
right.
catch up. But
Mm.
probably Friday will be the best because we will at least have some
Yep.
feel of the show.
Sure. Let's do Friday then. Let's make sure we pencil that in.
Or
Couple.
Saturday morning, something like that, yeah.
Yeah, a couple of quick things. Somebody reached out to me. I think his name was Alex. I forgot. I apologize if I think he's a listener. Maybe not. Maybe he just got me as a media person. He started up a new website called game-gather.com. Game Gather with a dash. Gamegather.com. It's like a community building, gamer finder, store finder, and you can do sales if you're like a publisher or something like that, business to consumer type sales. They're like kind of in the early stages, but I'll be checking this out going forward. I just wanted to give them a shout out because it looks like it's going to be a cool site. You can say what's your favorite stuff so people can meet you. It's like, hey, I love War of the Ring. Want to come play War of the Ring or something like that. So it's game-gather.com. A little shout out for those guys. And of course, let me remind you, Dogs of War coming from Play 2Z, the second game in the Shut Up and Sit Down Presents line. This campaign is going to start, approximately when you hear, in about a week after you hear this comment. We've already got over 4,000 people signed up to be notified when this happens. It's an amazing game. The Shut Up and Sit Down guys love this game, and that's why it became the second one in the lineup. Now, go over to gamefound.com, Dogs of War or Play to Z, and you'll find it. And now, the event deck. All right, boys. We have a bunch of interesting pieces of news. The first one has to do with the Spiel in Essen. And Corey, what's going on here with this? Why don't I toss it to you?
Basically, there's some changes going on with Spiel Essen 2025 in anticipation of the largest audience they've had so far. This is off of ICV2. Spiel adds a hall. So Spiel Essen organizers announced that they have added a new hall as they are anticipating over 200,000 visitors at their convention this year. The new Hall 4 will include a large stage area. The area will be used for a side program that visitors to the convention can attend without charge. Events hosted there will include an educator's day on Friday of the show, a cosplay show, and live streaming shows. So it's just a cool. I talked to the main organizer of the show is Carol Rapp. I
Mm-hmm.
got to hang out with Carol a bunch at Gen Con. Incredibly smart woman who's been in the industry for a long time through lots of different companies. She's started running the Essen show, I believe, 3 years ago. And the plans are just amazing. There's so much in anticipation of this, likely the world's largest board game convention. And I'm excited. I'm excited to be there, and I'll get an opportunity to be behind the scenes a little bit this year, which is just going to be amazing.
That is really interesting because Hall 4 it was always a weird hall with lots of the printers, like the foreign printers were in that hall. Though there were some publishers and
Yeah.
GameFound and Kickstarter were in that hall. So I don't know how they're going to reorganize that hall. It should be interesting. It's not.
Yeah.
I don't think
Because
they're adding more space because there was a hall 4. So they're just dedicating some of the space that they had,
well,
I
I've also
guess.
heard that they're using one of the later halls that so historically for a couple years now they've not used Hall 7 or Hall 8. They've been used for lines and logistics. And I believe they are opening up Hall 7 this year as
Okay.
well for actual use for booths.
We should see what happens. Oh, next one is insane. It's just a crazy article here.
I
It's
I put this one in because I think it's just amazing to see what sort of reach our industry actually has. How much are we integrating into the mainstream? So again, from ICV2, the French president Emmanuel Macron delivered a message to Yu-Gi-Oh players during the Yu-Gi-Oh World Championships 2025. So normally when you think of someone to deliver a message or be a special guest or to introduce a board game event, you don't think the president of the country.
is go is going to deliver a message to gamers. Hey, since the French government just collapsed yesterday, maybe I should have him come down to my event and have him deliver a message because he's not going to be busy, right? I political commentary. No, I mean it
No,
just
no,
did
no.
yesterday on the 8th. The French have to have another election now because they had a vote of no confidence for the other guy, the prime minister, I guess he is. I don't know the exact way it works there, but sorry, French people. I'm just kidding, just kidding. That is a very cool thing that he did something there. Let's get over to, of course, we can't have an episode without Diamond Comics being brought up. And we have the fact that Sparkle Pop responds to the consignment sales debacle. Sparkle Pop, the ad populum company that acquired Diamond Comic Distributors, comic distribution, and toy company assets, has responded to Diamond's motion. This is the estate on its sales of consignment inventory, alleging that its sales of the inventory were due to lack of action by Diamond, that it had stopped selling consignment inventory prior to Diamond's motion, and that it has sequestered funds from the sales and is waiting for the bankruptcy court now to determine what company or companies to pay for the goods. So in summary, right? So let's just get back to this, right? So we have the new owners of the comic distribution who had appropriated, stolen. They had this inventory that was not owned by them, and they were selling it and not paying out to the people that owned it. I had that interview with Nicole over at Green Ronin, and there's been many, many people that are affected by this, many small and large-ish companies as well that are affected. But now Sparkle Pop is saying it's not our fault. Diamond didn't give us any instructions. Well, I call BS on that. I really do. I mean, maybe they didn't give them the instructions, but the fact is they had inventory that they did not own. And that's just known. You don't like have, oh, we got this stuff over here, let's sell this stuff. Come on. That I call
I have a
BS. Yes,
I have a
Ignacy, give
question.
me give me a less Slavic maybe view because my view just there was quite Slavic.
I just want to double check if Steven pisses off somebody and we have a problem with the lawyers from Diamond. Do I get sued too, or this is just Steven being in trouble? Because I want to say that I'm a part of the Board Game Insider podcast, but I don't want to have a trouble.
All opinions expressed by Stephen Bonacar are are of his alone and do not reflect necessarily the views of Ignacy and Corey. However, I guarantee they have the same view as me. But anyway, so that's
Yeah, my
Wow.
English is not good enough, as I always say, to explain what the hell is going on with this whole situation, and I would need to switch to
Yeah.
Polish to say a couple of names and my opinions. This is
yeah.
insane what's
You should say
happening.
it in Polish, so so the English courts won't
It'll
understand what you
sound so
said.
much better
It
too.
sounds so much meaner.
I think this is just an indication of how absolutely chaotic, confusing, and obfuscated the whole thing is. Nobody knows what's going on. There's 18 different people all suing each other. Um, and every group is pointing at every other group. I'm not shocked that Sparkle Pop says Diamond had no idea what they were doing when
Yeah,
they turned over everything.
yeah,
We already know that.
yeah,
Diamond
yeah.
really wasn't well
Yeah, I mean,
organized.
and
But
it could certainly be, I gave my opinion there. It could certainly be that Diamond really did drop the ball, but it just stinks a little bit. I'm going to say it stinks a little bit.
yeah,
A little bit of little bit of a smell. There you go.
just a reminder, it's about a $500,000 worth of consignment inventory that everybody's fighting about.
Ah,
There were 2 million in inventory, a 500,000 of which was consignment.
did you notice that Sparkle Pop actually valuated the consignment inventory at a much higher level? Actually, they said it was closer to 1,500,000. So it's interesting. They're coming back and saying, no, we actually have more of this consignment inventory. So, but who knows if they're valuing it at MSRP versus cost? Who knows? More to come, of course. This one I thought was very, very interesting and is directly applicable to hobby gaming. And this is our friends over at Asmodee are announcing Asmodee Kids. And I got this. It was not put out anywhere, but your investigative reporter, Stephen Bonacore, he gets the news releases, the press releases directly from Asmodee, and I got this directly from them. The Asmodee Kids brand will bring together Asmodee's most iconic games and adapt their mechanics and gameplay to children while retaining the essence of the original games. Designed in collaboration with child development specialists and tested in schools and community settings for screen-free fun, each game is designed to be a maximum of 30 minutes and packed with entertaining content. The first releases from Asmodee Kids will include My First Unlock, launching in September, followed by Splendor Kids in October, and Dixit Kids in January 2026. I love this. I mean, again, this doesn't directly affect us because none of us here, for the most part, play children's games, and we don't publish children's games. But the fact that we're going to see more quality children's games, I guarantee that a lot of parents out there are going to have a source now, an ongoing source of good games to play with their kids.
I'm very curious that they've said that it's screen-free fun, and they also listed My First Unlock, which is traditionally an app-driven escape room type game. I'm curious if My First Unlock will truly be app-driven or not.
Are all I thought, are they the unlock games versus like the exit games are
Most
app
of
driven?
the
I didn't know that.
most of the
Okay.
mechanisms are in the cards and in the content of the
Okay.
cards, but they definitely run off of apps, and they have little side quests and things that use the app and the timer in the app.
Interesting. All right. So what do we have here next? We have a Ludonaute. They're
Yeah,
going to
this
stop publishing new titles, and after they've sold their IPs to Tycoon Games.
Yeah, so Ludonaute is the most recent group that sold IPs to Dan Yarrington's company Tycoon, and they sold Colt Express, which was an award winner. They sold Lewis and Clark, which was an award winner, and they sold Living Forest, which was an award winner. So the most recent article, and this is from Board Game Wire, says long-running French game publisher Ludonaute is calling time on creating new games at the end of 2025, saying the hobby's huge expansion in recent years has seen passion within the industry leach away in favor of economic decision making. So they're not going to be in the industry as
Any
far as making new titles after 2025. they went on to list two titles that they're going to end the year with. Um, Arigato is going to be one of their last titles, and Limit is going to be one of their last titles. Well, if not their last. So
Right.
no new titles after 2025.
Oh, it's a shame to see another publisher kind of going out, at least not with our new titles. But
I
we
don't, yes, I don't want, yes, I don't want to sound too Slavic, but this year, of course, we are making a little bit of the fun of the diamond situation, and this is like a leitmotif of the whole year. But I'm afraid that when you look back at this year in December or in January next year, we will see that it was very difficult year for the industry. That there's a lot
Oh
of
yeah.
companies who will go out of the business, and we were discussing this over these past years. The market is difficult, the margin is not very good, the Asmodee is growing. Like this is difficult for the independent. And now with this tariff situation and basically inflation, etc. else, is a very dark year for many, many small publishers, for many publishers who were struggling for years, and this year is just killing them. I know personally, obviously, Ludonaute, these are from friends, so we had a lot of interactions at Essen for over the years. So Lewis and Clark is my absolutely beloved, one of the best of the best of the base games in my collection. I absolutely
Such a
love it.
well-designed game.
Yeah, it's brilliant, and so I'm sad, but as here in the podcast, we try to give a bigger picture. This is very bad year for on one hand, great games, great Gen Con. It's gonna be great Essen. Asmodee is killing it, but then in the shadows, in the with all these lights, there's lots of bad stories happening, and this is sad.
Yep, exactly. Let's get over now to strategy and tactics. All right, we continue going through our questions, and I noticed when I scraped the last set of questions, we are going to be well into May of this year. So soon we will run out, and then it'll be like you ask a question, we're going to take your question like within one or two episodes. So, keep them coming, guys. We love to hear from you in those questions. First one is from Jim Kayer. He's at Red Baron. What is an underutilized theme in board games that you would like to see explored more? We have taken this question, and it's a very hard thing to say, right? We recently we had the mushroom explosion. I don't think there were ever any mushroom games, and all of a sudden there were a dozen mushroom games.
There were a few mushroom games out there like Morels.
There you go. Corey knows all. Any themes you'd like to see come out, or ones that are not utilized as much as they could be? Anybody?
If I can go to, of course, I'm being a geek, like all three of us. And on one hand, I absolutely respect and appreciate the growth of the flora and fauna and the little animals and flowers. Things. It's important for the industry. Uh, Respect to Elizabeth, who started this with the wingspan and all the explosion of these flora and fauna games. But me being a geek, I want games about the dwarfs, orcs, wizards. So uh, uh, I'm sorry to say that it's controversial, but I miss standard geeky teams. Like I want more dwarf and orcs in gaming, like it was in 70s and 80s.
I think we still have a decent amount, but I agree the shift has definitely gone to nicety. In that aspect, I'd like to see a shift away from nice non-conflict into something we haven't seen for a while, which is games where you play the bad guy. Games where you are in charge of the dungeon and you're murdering these annoying heroes who are coming in and trying to take your stuff. We had a little blip of those a while ago, but I think we're ripe for, you know, really, I want to be evil. I want to be a mean guy messing with all the heroes. So
I agree
I
with
think
you
it's open.
totally. Yes, a couple of weeks or maybe 2 months ago, I bought a miniature game. So Warhammer 40K or Warhammer Battle,
Yep.
that kind of game. But you're a necromancer, so it is not heroes fighting with necromancer, but you're a necromancer. You have on your table tons of skeletons and undeads, and you are crushing villages. This is awesome. And after each game, you have new powers and new zombies, and you are crushing more villages and more
That's
cities.
always
This is
fun.
awesome.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Old West. I don't know that we have enough good games in that genre. I think that I'd love to see some more of that where you're actually running or you're part of a town like it's like the series Deadwood. That was about as real and as gritty as you might expect from like mid 1800s, and I think that got set in or something
Hmm.
like that. I think I'd like to see something very real like about the way the Old West was done
Adam,
and happened.
Adam Kwapiński, designer of Nemesis, my close friend, for years he's telling me, Ignacy, you are not going to retirement before you do a game with me. This is like he will not allow me to get retired before we two make a game together. And me and him, we are both huge fans of the role-playing game called Deadlands from
Okay.
Pinnacle Entertainment from the
Yeah.
old years. So Adam has already everything planned. First, he makes a game with Ignacy. Ignacy is not allowed to go to retirement, and this game will be Western themed because we both love this Wild West stuff. So, and I'm telling him next year, next year, next year. So at some point there will be some Western game, but I don't know when.
I will wait for that, Ignacy. I will buy it instantly. All right, the next one's a
Thank you.
very controversial type of question. I'm going to not answer it, but I have to take it because I feel like anytime somebody does ask us something that I should at least address it. So it's from Mad Halfling at Mad-Halfling on Board Game Geek. He's a great guy. He gives us questions all the time. And he was talking about tariffs, and this other website mentions, that publishers are, they could just band together and they can eliminate distributor costs and they could, be more efficient. About everything about this article was either dead wrong or very politically charged. So I'm just going to say to Mad Halfling that don't believe what you read from people who don't know what the F they're talking about, which
Well,
is what this guy
I
is.
mean, I read the whole article, and
Okay?
Can you
I
guys
think it's
start with
important to
reading the
read these
question?
things. Oh, sorry. The
Well,
question,
this is the question. I mean, I just explained it, but go ahead.
it's
Our listeners need to read the question.
It's the question from Matt Halfling saw this in response to the tariff situation. I'm intrigued about the suggestion that companies could band together to work their own logistics and thus eliminate the distributor step and costs more efficiently. As marvelous as it sounds, I suspect it would be far too complex to manage in practice, but I'm intrigued to hear what you folks think about how viable it could be. So I read the
First
whole
of all,
article, and there's a lot of misleads and a lot of simplifications in the article, which is interesting because the article starts with nobody understands this because there's misleads and simplifications, but here's the truth, and then it's
Yeah.
all misleads and
No, he just
simplifications.
goes into he just knows misleading article.
So
Go ahead.
the one thing that I think is really worth discussion on this is do we need the current distribution system? There are a lot of problems with it. Our system of retail distribution, especially in the US, is a little broken. It and tariffs are showing the cracks. Uh, it's not that we don't know how to deal with tariffs or that we're not dealing well. A lot of companies are managing tariffs and continuing to do business. The issue is that we have so many partners, so many middlemen along the way that little changes in the beginning of the process turn into big changes at the end because we're dividing up our very, very limited profits in board games among so many players. So the question, can we get rid of distribution um, and just have companies band together? I think there's no way.
There
Our
is there.
companies are too small. The distribution is too vast a problem. How does Bob, who makes one game, somehow distribute to 20,000 board game stores all across the US?
You,
It's
the only companies that have been successful in doing this are the absolute largest ones, and even the large ones have not done it. Like Asmodee, of course, has done it because
yeah.
they grew up both
They
in
became
both
their own
places.
distributor. They
Right.
made their own distribute. They didn't avoid the distribution system. they joined it and made their
Yes.
own because they could
Yes.
afford it.
Yes, because they
I
have thousands of employees and they're a $4 billion company. So
I
that's a
think
completely different thing than you
yeah.
taking a look at 10,000 of us publishers and saying, oh, obviously we can just get rid of this situation. No, we
No,
can't.
I think the only way to avoid the distribution system is to go through crowdfunding. And little companies who crowdfund look on the surface like they've avoided distribution because they get it shipped out. But instead of the standard distribution retail system, they're now using a logistics, a fulfillment system. The middleman is now, QML or one of the companies that do fulfillment. It's the same job done a different way.
If I may to explain it to listeners, super simple, because I have this background that I was, of course, starting working in Poland and then in Europe, and then America. So obviously in Europe we have a different system, in Poland we have different system. So I was not I was trying to go around the distribution because it was my initial thought that this is how I operate in Poland. Of course, it is. I learned that it's impossible. We need distributors. Why? If you, the listener, can imagine, there's a retailer, let's say in Dallas. He orders from me 6 copies of Robinson Crusoe, 6 copies of Detective, 6 copies of Imperial Settlers, etc., etc., etc. 2 weeks passed. And this retailer in Dallas sold 6 copies of Robinson Crusoe, 3 copies of Detective, and 3 copies of Imperial Settlers. He needs to restock Robinson Crusoe, but he has the rest of the products still in stock. So he needs only to restock 6 copies of Robinson Crusoe. I will not ship from Florida to Dallas 6 copies of Robinson Crusoe to restock him because only these items were sold. That's why he will be restocking it from the distributor, because from the distributor he can take 6 copies of Robinson Crusoe and 6 copies of
Uh,
Wingspan and 6 copies of whatever else. So
right. Right.
retailers work on a short stock because they have a shelf with these hundreds of different games, and he cannot stock 48 copies of Robinson Crusoe. He can stock 3 or 6 at maximum, but he needs to restock every other day. Every other day he looks what's sold and he restock from distributors. So trust me, if somebody telling
Yeah.
you the publisher should be more
Yeah.
smart and get distributors out of the chain, bullshit.
The whole premise of the and by the way, just for the record, I'm not angry at Matt Halfling. I'm angry at the guy who wrote the article that I'm not mentioning because it's BS. Um, uh, the whole premise is wrong because everything Ignacy just said means if we were going to try to do this, like all the publishers are going to get together, going to eliminate distributors, then we become the distributor, right? So then we would all ship to a distribution warehouse and then people can pick and choose. So we would then become the distribution warehouse and absorb all those costs and try to sell ourselves. So it doesn't work. Absolutely doesn't work. Ramon Mercado, good buddy. He's our Mercado on BGG. And again, a lot of this. So this is coming back from like mid-April. So a lot of tariff related questions are going to be part of these next couple of things. With all the talk about tariffs and discussions around publishers, what I want to know is how do we expect conventions to be impacted by tariffs? If publishers don't have products to promote at cons, will we see a drop in participation? Is this going to result in a contraction in conventions? I'll admit I'm looking at my finances very carefully, and I'm not 100% sure I'll make it to Philadelphia this year for PAX Unplugged. So we took a very similar question to this one last episode from someone else, and they were saying, "Hey, or like are we going to see PAX Unplugged becoming a bigger convention because as Origins went down a little bit, are we going to see a shift in and an impact on conventions in general if tariffs don't change or get worse?"
I mean,
Yeah,
you guys have data. I don't have this data, but you have this data. If you have already inflation in America, if these tariffs are touching the daily life of the Americans, because as we always say in this podcast, games are entertainment, and if you need to cut off something from your spendings, you are cutting off entertainment.
Sure.
So we will see as a whole industry if at the end of the year, people in America will start save some money on games.
and we saw this during COVID as well, where we had really strange effects on the economy. Everybody thought that when we came back from COVID, there'd be a slump where because people were tightening their purse and controlling their spending, and games are luxury. But it turns out that people needed an escape. People really needed to have games, and we had a boom of sales right after. I think the biggest effect that we're having so far with the tariffs is a lot of people are just not getting their inventory and their inventory is shifting. A lot of games publishers that are attending conventions are showing up with smaller card games they had not anticipated bringing to a convention because that was economically the better thing to import with the tariffs. And a lot of their big, heavy titles, not heavy in terms of complexity, but in terms of actual shipping weight, we're being left in China. We're being warehoused and not imported in. So I think publishers are scrambling to have a shift to smaller card games. And I definitely have seen that with a number of publishers at Gen Con.
Yeah, that's the big shift. It's not necessarily really conventions. Publishers are still going to go to conventions even if they don't have a new release. They have games to try to sell and to market. A lot of companies are relying on marketing their older games. That's a fine thing to do. Because a lot of people don't you can't follow the 3,000 games that come out every year, so you market something that maybe got lost in the shuffle from a year, 2 or 3 ago. That's what's happening maybe at conventions. Last question that we'll take, Glenn Slagle. He's at Power Trout. Hey, Glenn. He says, every time somebody asks about tariffs, take a shot. So with looming tariffs, gulp, he says, do you see publishers leaning on digital releases like Board Game Arena or Print and Play? How do the cost versus revenue work for a direct to digital board game compared to physical? Is the margin better, but the volume and cash flow are lower? And then he came back and he said, "Wow, this aged well. This question when he and it's first of all it's you can't really take a concept and just throw it up on Board Game Arena. I mean, you can, but that's not sort of the purpose. Board Game Arena is not it's digital, but it's not like a digital game like Steam and on your iPhones and iPads and it's like you're taking a game, whatever that game may be. I'm grabbing a game that's sitting next to me. There it is. Sea salt and pepper. And you're taking this and you're implementing this game. So why people aren't going to Board Game Arena to say, "Hey, what's the latest digital release?" It really has to be
Yeah.
launched either simultaneously or about the same time or later on Board Game Arena
Well,
after
the
it has been
question too,
physical.
if somebody has developed a large game and can't afford because of tariffs to bring it in and sell it, do you then pivot and move it to a digital platform?
It's
The problem with the digital platforms is it's incredibly expensive to create a digital version. So you have a big overhead. And then once you do implement it, the you're relying on numbers. It costs nothing to make more copies. So you really hope you sell 10, 100, 1,000 times more of the digital, which in balance means that your per profit is much lower. So you've got high overhead and then you have low profit per copy, but you're hoping that you sell a jillion copies. I don't think that's a targeted way to do it, just because it's essentially starting from scratch again. But it's interesting. I think the real person to ask would be Cephalofair and Price Johnson because they are actually doing successfully with Gloomhaven Digital and Frosthaven Digital.
but
Yeah, this is exactly what I was going to say. That, for instance, for Portal Games, I have Portal Games Digital. I have some knowledge. I have employee. Like we do a couple of things of Board Game Arena. We were doing apps as well. But for the regular standard board game publisher, their know-how, their craft is board gaming, traditional board gaming. They will not switch the whole business model
right.
into model just because there is a tariff. They will just slap this tariff on the MSRP. You as a customer will pay 20% more for the game, and they will not change the whole business model because of the tariff. So it will not happen.
And there you go. Let's get over to play testing. All right, Corey, last week you asked the dumbest question we've ever asked people, and you're about to read it. But before you do, I'd like to point out that we might have gotten more responses to this than we've gotten. We got a lot of responses to this question. I think it's because I promised to send somebody, like people like something. I think I'm going to send them like one of my coasters or something like that for the one who had the, what do we say? Go ahead, read the question, and then we'll figure this all out.
So the question is, what is alphabetically the first game you own? And then it led into this whole other thing of how do you do alphabetical? I just
We
want to say alphabetical is alphabetical. If you've ever worked in a filing system in an office, you follow the Dewey Decimal System, which is that numbers come before letters,
Yes.
period, and numbers act like letters. So 1 space comes before 18.
We found out that
2
is correct.
space comes before 18. Of course it's correct.
Well,
It is
I didn't
the
know this.
standard Dewey Decimal System that every office uses.
I didn't know where the space. If why should so the space just it has to so it counts as even the
If you're gonna
lowest.
do okay,
The
if
whole
you're gonna do it numerically, where all the numbers go in order,
yeah.
where does 18XX go? Not a full number, but something that's a mix of numbers and letters.
We go
It
after
can't
1860, right?
really.
18. Yeah,
For all of you
1860.
who are not
You
watching
treat
it
it
on
like
YouTube,
words.
go to YouTube or watch it. Watch Corey Thompson
I
just
can't
face.
believe this
Yeah,
discussion.
he's just.
It's
This is insanely great. Watch it. Like this is great content for all of you.
Bonacor using his
Corey
hands.
Thompson. Yes, Corey is face palming
anyway.
and cannot believe what's happening right now. It's
I
pure entertainment.
I agree it's a dumb question. But I like that a lot of people out there said, yes, this is a dumb question. My
Good.
fault entirely. It tickled me.
Yes, good.
But there's a lot of people who also said, this was a fun question. I enjoyed this question.
There you
We
go.
did get a lot of responses.
All right. So I'll take a few. I'm not going to take anything in particular. We'll have to figure out later which is the the one that was first meant of all of these alphabetically. That's what we wanted to do, alphanumerically, and the one that was last. And that's what I said. I think I'll send one of my cute little coasters to each person. So the first of all, we have Adam C here. He says Seven Wonders Duel. Technically, it's owned by his son, and Abalone Travel. So
Abalone. His
Abalone.
little marble movement, push him off the edge game.
Okay.
No,
Go
we
ahead.
can clearly see that from the answers here, the number one would be To De Mayo, because the number two and then space, like Corey said. So To De Mayo is probably winning this contest. And actually, I have this game in my collection, so I'm the winner. Thank you.
There are a lot of Portal games mentioned here. John Bailey said for me, 51st State Ultimate Edition.
Thank
It
you.
really is not kissing up to Ignacy.
That is funny.
So I have a story about To De Mayo, because I always have a story.
All right.
Okay.
To De Mayo is a two-player game about the history of the Spain and the things that happened in the 19th century. I approached the booth back then at Essen when it was released, and I had a chat with the designer of this game, and he asked me what country I'm from, and I said I'm from Poland, and he said, I forgive you, no hard feelings, it's okay. And then I figured out the context of the whole situation that back then in the time of Napoleon, a famous person, Polish soldiers were helping a lot with French soldiers to attack Spanish. So it was a game of the history of the Spain, and Poland was not the brave heroes in this period of time. So it was a weird moment, but he forgave me.
It's funny. So
That's pretty good.
some people thought that I meant like that, also give me the last
No,
alphabetically because
that actually appeared organically. Some people were like,
oh.
nobody asked, but
Oh, okay, I see it because I'm
here's
seeing
the
like
unwritten
Wormspan.
secret question. So
Yeah.
people put their last game in there as well, which I
Was
thought was kind of fun.
Board Game Fangirl had her last was Zogan with a Z, so that's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
I'm just like enjoying some of these ones that like I've never heard of, but they're
I
very
had a lot
low.
of fun reading through all these.
Yeah, Mario Sousa, he says, abandon all artichokes. I don't know that game, but it
Oh,
sounds
I know it
cool.
well. That was, I think, the most popular game that showed up as the first was Abandon All Artichokes. I think that's great.
Really? Oh wow, no,
Yeah.
there's plenty of numbers, plenty of number games. Like Sean S says 15 days. Obviously, that's going to be low because it's a number. Numbers have to come first. Yes, we did agree on
I
that.
see Age of Galaxy from Portal Games. Very nice.
Yep, I
Very cool.
see Six Nimmt show up a few times.
Awesome
Um,
game.
Uh,
so which one was that one you said that Ignacy that you think is the one
To
that
the
comes
mile.
first? To
To
the
the
mile?
mile. Hmm.
To the mile? Is that what it is? T O? No, T
Hmm. Hmm.
the number two.
Second of May. Hmm.
Oh, oh, okay.
To the
I
mile.
don't see it here, but I'm sure that I'll have to go through all this.
Chris Holm listed above and below in 1960, The Making of the President, and To the Mile.
Oh, two space. Okay, so that might be the winner,
This
Chris.
is
Okay.
this is this little game about things that happened in Madrid back then, and Poland
Oh,
was not a good character in this situation, unfortunately.
oh, okay. Chris, you might be the
I
winner.
liked I liked Kirk W, who kept redoing what he thought the right answer would be. Uh, so he said, take five, and then no, numbers don't count alphabetically. It's a relic of ASCII code, and I'll not be dictated by computers. And then Agropolis, he said, as much
Oh,
as I love Button Shy, they are more like puzzles than games, and eventually settled on Arboretum.
there you go. That's great,
And then
Kirk.
he said, "So what's up next week? The first game you own in the visible light spectrum, the reddest game.
Oh,
You know,
that's awesome.
that's not bad. That's not bad.
You know, maybe
Maybe
we
I'll
need
put that in. That's,
now, now with more black.
we got to start looking at infrared on the
All right.
games.
This is too ridiculous to continue. So, Corey, let's move on and tell us
By
what
the way, the winner for the latest game I have to put to Zepocalypse. Zepocalypse 2. That's great.
Z. You think it's going to be Zpocalypse? Yeah.
Zepocalypse.
Oh,
That's a
yeah.
really good one from
Okay.
Aaron Pope. All right.
Okay. All right.
I
I will look that up and maybe Aaron's going to get the no. You don't we're not doing that one. We're doing it was the first game and then the person who put something up that was that was the lowest game. I don't know. I can't even figure it out. I'm giving two people a coaster. That's what you're going to get. So end of story. Corey, what happened? What
too
happened this week?
complicated.
Too
So this
complicated.
week's question, because Stephen complained that we ran out of questions, so I wrote a good 20 more.
Yes, he did.
Um, what is your favorite game with two players, but it's a design for four or more player game?
Yeah. This is actually a great question that I literally can't think of what my answer should be. And you guys, can you think of something designed for multiplayer that it happens to be your favorite? We'll just say your favorite at two players. It doesn't have to be your favorite two-player game,
Right.
but it's like you love to play this game two players.
Uh, I recently played SETI at two players and
Okay.
really, really enjoyed it. And I was sort of warm to it. It was good but long when I played it with a lot of players. With two, it was great. I played it at Pacificon just a few weeks ago. So I'm going to go with SETI.
I'm looking around my collection. I got a whole bunch of stuff over there ready to go to Orlando with me. You know, Terraforming Mars is one of my favorite two players. So I mean, I could just throw that one out. Paula and I play it all the time, two player. Very often on Board Game
It
Arena.
works. It's really good. I mean,
Yeah.
some of these heavy ones like Arca Nova works pretty well with
Yep.
two.
Another one
I
that I
played
play
that
with
with
two
Zev.
player. Ignacio, you have any multiplayer games that you like to play
Yeah,
two player?
yes, most of the games I played as a two player because I play with my wife. She's my player that I play the most. So all this Race for the Galaxy, I play two player. Neuroshima Hex, I play two player. 51st State, I play two player. So like most of the games that have on the box 2 to 4, in most cases I play two player because we play here at home, and there is only some conventions or some gaming events. Then I play with 3 or 4 players. So most of these games I play as a two player. They work perfectly well. To be honest, for my games like 51st State or Imperial Settlers. If I need to play for the 4 players, I say no because they feel to me too long. Because when I played it, 2 player is fast and quick. It's a much faster experience than playing it to 4 players. So for me, most of the games they have on the box 2 to 4. I prefer to.
Then there you have it. So
Very
right
cool.
now,
Remember, we're not asking for a designed for two-player game. We're asking for the favorite two-player game that's designed for four or more.
that is exactly
So you
right.
are looking for the game that is officially not for 2 players.
Correct.
Right,
Not a
correct.
two-player game, but it's designed multiplayer, but you like it. You like to play this two-player.
So Terraforming Mars is illegal.
No, you play Terraforming Mars 2 players all the time. It's multiplayer game, 5 players, 2 players. It's great.
But Corey said that we're looking for the game that is officially not for the 2 players, but we played 2 player.
Oh no,
No, no, no,
no.
no. Not designed for only two players.
Oh, not also yeah. So yeah. So Race for the Galaxy,
Yeah.
Neuroshima Hag, Simple Settlers, all
Correct.
these
All
games that
good. All
yeah,
good.
All
yeah.
those games do work. And in fact, right now we're asking you. So Ignacy is going to create a thread if he remembers how to do it, because he hasn't been here in a few weeks. He's going to create the thread on Board Game Geek in the guild for you to answer, and hopefully we'll take your answer to this question. Wow, did we go long today? Let's get over to the final scoring. Thank you so much for listening, and help us spread the word about this podcast by telling your friends to download Board Games Insider wherever they like to get their podcasts, or watch Board Games Insider on the Podfather of Gaming YouTube channel. Do you want to be part of this podcast? You can. Go to the guild, make sure you're a member on Board Game Geek, ask us questions for the strategy and tactics segment, and answer our question to you from the playtesting segment. I know you smart people can figure out how to do all that. Interact with us on social media, and you can do that on Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, or YouTube. The handle is the same. It's at Board Games Insider, at Portal Games US, Podfather Gaming, Dice Tower Dish, Play2Z Games, and Above Board TV. Pick the special social media of your choice, and you'll be talking directly to us. Special call out to the YouTube channels, which they're named Portal Games Studio, the Podfather of Gaming, and Above Board TV. We'd love to see you at an upcoming convention, so if you see us, come over and talk to us. Oh, and I forgot to mention that at Dice Tower Retreat, someone from Europe was there, and we spent I was in the market trying to find something to get to eat as a snack, and he came over and said, "Big fan, listener of the show, love it." I'm like, "Oh, that's really great." I'm sorry I forgot your name. I don't know, remember it was Simon or whatever, and I don't even remember the country. But it was a fun conversation about how bad Americans eat, because I was buying beef jerky as my snack, and he was buying something much healthier, I think. So anyway, thanks for reaching out. And if you see us at a convention, please do the same. Board Games Insider, professionally edited by Jake Thompson. Thank you, Jake, for being part of the team. And that beautiful voice doing the intro, the outro, and the in-between segments is that of Ray Greenlee. And he can be contacted to do your voiceover work at raygreenleevoiceover.com. Gentlemen, that brings us to the end of another episode. Always a pleasure being here with all you guys. What do
I
you have to say to end
I
this episode?
just want to say that my son Jake also thought that the question was really dumb.
He thought it was dumb too. Well, I believe it's unanimous, but it got a lot of responses, and that's what's important. All right, everybody, we'll see you next week. Bye bye, everybody.
Thank you. Bye bye.
See you later, everyone.